It is a big moment for Rebrand Everything today because it is episode 69. Way! In episode 69 of Rebrand Everything, we are going to be redesigning the Petco logo. Petco is an American pet shop who recently had a logo design that caused a lot of controversy in the design community. So that we're all on the same page here is a quick rundown of the Petco logo history.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Now it's the comparison between these two that's caused the storm in the design world. So when you Google the logo, in various news articles and social media, I've seen the new logo called Cold and Lifeless and likening it to a medical company instead of your friendly neighbourhood pet shop. A little while after the global shock at the logo, Petco kind of softened the blow of losing the animals by tweeting this message. So what do I think of the new logo? Well, for me, it depends on how you look at it. Yes, you could call the new logo Cold and Lifeless, but I could also call it Streamlined and Clean if I was the one trying to sell it to them. And when I was thinking about this, I thought, let's just flip the situation on its head. Imagine for a minute that Petco had actually gone from the all blue logo to this red version with the cat and dog icon. There's no doubt in my mind that the design community would be jumping on how the colours clash and the icon won't work in single colour, not to mention the weird spacing and positioning between the text and icon. Now, back to reality, I agree, compared to the old logo, this new version could definitely be called Cold and Lifeless. But at the same time, most people seem to be making judgment of the old and new logo side by side on a white background, and as we all know, that's not how logos are seen in the real world. So to see the logo in context, I visited their website. And by doing this, looking at this website here, you can actually see that the logo doesn't even appear on a white background on the homepage. And of course the logo isn't even the main feature of the page, it is the header graphics, which are very colourful, very pet friendly, and yeah, just give you the vibe of the brand rather than just looking at the logo on its own. So what do you think of their new logo? Do you like it? Do you prefer their old logo? Let me know in the comments below. So after looking at this for a little while, it got me thinking, how would I tackle a rebrand? And that's what we're going to find out in this video, so let's move into the sketching stage. Okay, so when sketching, I was thinking about the general feedback that they've got from this new logo and how maybe I could look at making some options that are somewhere between the old and new versions. I also thought it would be nice to try something that takes some inspiration from their super old logos, kind of like how the recent Burger King rebrand went down. It went down so well in the design community with them pure retro vibes. I thought perhaps there's a way of implementing that into this Petco redesign. When sketching, it was easy to fall into the trap of drawing that kind of standard generic animal icons. You know, the kind of thing that pops up if you type in dog logo or pet shop logo into a stock library website, and that was something that I was trying to avoid. When I got just the right amount, it was time to head into Adobe Illustrator to see which of these has legs, unintended. If you want to see a way more in-depth logo process with over 2 hours of step-by-step logo design goodness, then you can get exactly that with my geometric logo design course on Udemy, or it's available on Gumroad as well if you prefer to download the videos. In this course, I walk you through a complete logo design process for a company called 0 Degree Distribution, showing you my complete process from brainstorming right through to creating the final professional quality logo in Adobe Illustrator. And if that sounds like something you might be able to learn from or it would be interesting to you, then I'll leave a link in the top of the description so you can check it out. Cheers. So for option 1, I wanted to combine old and new in a way that retains some personality and some of the recognition that the logo has built up over the years. So on the latest website, I noticed that they had already created a refined and modernised version of the cat and dog icon. It's only subtle differences to the original, but the changes they have made are definitely an improvement in my eyes. So the way they had actually implemented this onto their website was as a .svg graphic, and I have this Chrome extension installed that's called SVG Grabber, and that is how I managed to quickly grab this new icon without having to mess around using workarounds. It's actually amazing how many times that extension comes in handy in the life of a designer. Now I had the icon, it was time to team it up with the text. I tried some weird stuff, different positions and stuff like that, but then in the end I thought that simple was best. For option 2, I had to do something that I thought I would never do. Decapitate 2 animals in the name of design. These 2 boys had to suffer just for our art, so please join me when I say rest in pieces, sweet animals. So the idea behind this was to basically restore a bit of balance between the text thickness and the icon stroke thickness. Losing the bodies of the animals means that I can make the heads bigger. Bigger is nice for this logo as it makes it simpler, there's less line work, and it's still super clear that it's a cat and a dog. When it came to positioning the icon with the text, having the 2 elements touching seemed to make the most sense. The dog's ear provided a nice bridge to create this unique looking design.
3.
Okay, so option 3 actually turned out pretty hilarious because what I had in my head and what I ended up with were worlds apart. So the idea at the sketching stage was to create a letter P which also had an animal's face in, but this stage was exactly where I went wrong because I didn't specify in my mind which animal the face was going to be of. And that led to me creating this abomination that looks like a mix of a guinea pig and a seal. I do think that this idea could be developed further, but I got it to this point and thought it was too funny not to share with the class. I think I basically went too generic with the features of the animal. Here, the ears are kind of like in that middle zone where it can't really be a cat, it can't really be a dog. Yeah, so maybe I definitely need to put a little bit more work in on my animal style logos.
4.
Okay, so after option 3, I was thinking like, okay, we may stumble, but we will never fall. We are back on track for option 4. Going boldly into a completely new style here, I wanted to try to capture what it is to own a pet with this design. Pets are fun, pets are imperfect, pets are lovable, so that's what I needed the logo to reflect. I have this font called Grand Standard, and it just looks so fun without looking too cheesy or naff. So using this font, I typed it onto a path around the circle, and then I added this strapline underneath to make it look balanced and not too top heavy. So I was pretty happy with the direction it was going. The circle in the middle was looking a little bit too perfect when compared to the text, so I used the roughen effect for a subtle roughen up, just to give it that more kind of like homely pet shop feel. Now at this point, again, I was really liking the direction. The logo screamed fun, but the colours were still that corporate coldness. So it was time to go wild with the colours, get nuclear. Also, yeah, this is a bit of a side note, but I've really got in the habit of choosing my colours when I'm just doing like digital work, using the HSB palette instead of RGB. It's just so much easier to use now that I actually have taken the time to understand it. I know it's no good for print or anything like that, but it's just so much easier when doing digital only work. So I grabbed the heads that I took off the logo for option 2 and I put that inside the circle, and I just tilted it a little bit just to give it that fun and loose feel, so because I didn't want it to look too sort of regimented against this very loose design.
5.
So in the theme of Burger King having that retro logo design and sort of rebrand that's really gone down well, I thought that option 5 for this logo just had to be a throwback as well. You know them vintage vibes you get when you see a company's first logo? That's what I was going for. So I added a fat stroke onto the font Gotham Rounded to give me this big beautiful text, then I expanded it so it was nice clean paths. I did actually go in with the direct selection tool and just adjust some of the letters just to give me some nice spacing and basically just tidy it up and make it look a little bit more like cohesive. I also did a similar thing with the icon. I added some weight to the strokes of everything apart from the facial features of the animals. For the strapline, I wanted to include the new strapline on the old logo, so I did just that, and then I rounded off the slab serifs on that font so that the text looked a little bit more polished and so that it had a link to that main rounded Petco wording. Another thing I did is adjust the colours of the red. The original logo seemed like it was a little bit too bright for the vibe I was going for. It's like, you know, I guess it's kind of like when you look at an old picture, like the colours are kind of a little bit faded or a little bit darker, and that's what gives it that retro feel. So I was thinking if we just tone back that red a little bit, it look a little bit less kind of bright McDonald's salesy and take it in the direction of a more vintage feel. Okay then guys, I hope you like seeing the process of how I've come up with these logos. So for the final logo reveal, I've done it a little bit differently to my previous videos. I've shown you the logos on their own, and then there's another slide which is basically on a photo just to expand the vibe of the brand that I'm trying to get across, and hopefully will give you a better idea of how I imagine it working if they rolled out these logos in reality. Please remember to let me know what you think in the comments. Here are the final options.